Hello world! Welcome to another exploration of open data using the OpenDataDEx, a tool I created that hopefully makes it fun and interesting to navigate through open data that is available out there at various endpoints for anyone to query and use in their own applications. This week we are going to be exploring public domain works. A public domain work is a creative work that is no longer under copyright. So I think it's a good topic to go along with my love of open data. Specifically, we are going to be exploring the public domain works metadata that is stored at Wikidata, which is the open knowledge base managed by the Wikimedia Foundation. All right, let's get into it. The app is behind me here. Let's see. All right. So if you go to OpenDataDEx.com, here's what you'll see. It is defaulted to an astronomy dex to go along with the astronomy theme of the app. So we're going to go here and pick a different query, a pre-built query, Wikipedia pages on creative works that entered the public domain. This is the SPARQL query that's going to be sent to this SPARQL endpoint, and we're going to generate that. It shouldn't take too long. The data set's not too big, but it's got to pull the data, structure it, and while that's happening, we can take a look at the features of the DEX, which is you can click on things. It'll show you the Wikipedia page. Oh, that's happening because it already created. All right, so we'll continue going with the features. Again, we can click on different nodes. It'll show you the Wikipedia page. You can click on edges and it will compare the two. So you can see the tags, where a tag is a property value pair that are exactly the same, the tags that are similar, where the property is the same but the value is not, and then unique tags where they don't share the same property at all. We can increase the number of connections all the way up to 12 and decrease it all the way to the top 1. They are ordered connections, so you'll get, these are the top 12 most related to this. Defaults to 6 because I feel like that makes a pretty good looking graph. We can always return to the hub object. Go to the previous object and search for objects. All right, so let's get into this DEX. We've got the color out of space being our hub object. The color out of space is an H.P. Lovecraft short story, and I suspect most of these are H.P. Lovecraft short stories. And so that would make sense to me why this is the hub. There is this natural hub of a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft short stories where someone has done a good job of putting that data into Wikidata, and they all have this public domain date of when it entered the public domain. So we've got Nameless City in 1997, and then we've got Call of Chulu, I think Chulu, entering 2021. The festival. Okay, that's because sometimes you have to move the item to get, okay, that's getting here. Let's look at Call of Chulu, that was in 2024. It entered the public domain. So yeah, I am guessing, let's see if this is, let's see if this, so we're in a nice little cluster here of a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft stories. And let's see if we can get out of it by increasing the connections. And yeah, well, let's see, we've got Tarzan of the Apes here, which I know is not, written by H.P. Lovecraft, but it is connected to a bunch of his. So let's see why Tarzan is connected to Color Out of Space. And we have some other books here, Little Prince, 1984. So we're in a nice little literary works cluster where these have all entered the public domain. But as far as Tarzan of the Apes and Color Out of Space, let's see, not a lot that where they have the exact tags, but they've got a lot of similar ones. They derive from a work, they've got a genre. Let's see, they've got different editions or translations. So, yeah, that makes sense why they'd be connected. And then unique tags, Tarzan takes place in a fictional universe, and either Color Out of Space doesn't. Oh, yeah, that doesn't. So, or someone just didn't put that data in. Let's see. So yeah, All Quiet to the Western Front. I remember reading that in middle school. So yeah, we're in a nice literary cluster here. Let's see if we keep clicking, if we can even get out of it. Okay, yeah. So Little Prince is connected to the Eiffel Tower. And it's not even because they're both French, it's because they're both vital Wikipedia articles. So, and they actually do have quite a bit in common. Let's see, they both have official websites. Let's see, it's interesting, the Little Prince has multiple public domain dates. This may be because of different jurisdictions, which are qualifiers that I don't include in the app. So, okay, so if we click on Eiffel Tower, let's see, we're still getting quite a bit of literary works, but now we're also getting films, and we're getting the World Wide Web. That's pretty cool. I think it's very cool that the World Wide Web is in the public domain. Thank you, Tim Berners-Lee. And yeah, we've got the World Wide Web connected to, Mickey Mouse. That's a really interesting connection. So, okay, they're vital Wikipedia articles. They both have a location of creation. World Wide Web was created at CERN. So, yeah, that was enough to create a good connection here. Obviously, yeah, we've got Mickey Mouse has a ton of unique tags. Someone's done a good job of putting in all that metadata at Wikidata. I'm surprised World Wide Web doesn't have more metadata given to it. Someone needs to get on top of that. And then, yeah, we can see Mickey Mouse connected to Steamboat Willie. I'm pretty sure that's like one of the first short animations using Mickey Mouse. We've got Popeye. I'm pretty sure that's a different creator. Yeah, we've got, these different creators here. But a lot of similarities with the two of them. They both have unmarried partners here. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see. We've got, these ones are just ones where, these ones that start with Q, that's just because that's their Wikidata entity number. Someone has not entered the label property for these. That's why you don't see Great Guns here. You see the actual Wikidata property. And I'm guessing these are all these other little Walt Disney short films where no one has, entered, has done that. So maybe someone at Walt Disney could come and fix this in Wikidata. Let's see if we can get, now we're starting to get into film. Let's see. Passion of Joan Arc. Metropolis. Ooh, this one is a really interesting one. Night of the Living Dead. So even though Night of the Living Dead was created in 1968, it is in the public domain because the distributor of the film forgot to copyright it. And poor George A. Romero, he really hardly made anything off of that film. But part of why this film has such a huge cult following is perhaps because it's been in the public domain so long, and, you know, pretty much it is free, so free and easy to stream this film. And, you know, I think it's a good example of what could happen if, you know, more things, as more films enter the public domain. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll go into obscurity. Some of them rise up. All right, so let's see. Another one that I know is in here is Happy Birthday. So let's see what things connect to that. So we've got Happy Birthday to You. It's the American song that entered the public domain only in 2017, which is very surprising. So before 2017, it's likely it was copyrighted. Let's see here. So yeah, now we've got a little cluster. That's probably a lot of these is music. We do still have some of those Lovecraft's connections, literary. Let's see, Charleston. What is that? Okay, so it's a song. All right, I kind of want to go back to Mickey because I know there's something interesting here. Yeah, so here both Mickey and Popeye entered the public domain date on the same date, but in Wikidata it says the copyright status is copyrighted. So these are actually conflicting data that, you know, if you didn't not understand public domain, you wouldn't really know, okay, is it copyrighted or not? So someone also needs to come in and correct that the copyright status should be public domain, no longer copyrighted. All right, so we could keep going and going on this data. It's really interesting, but let's go into the actual query of this. And how I like to look at these queries here is go to Wikidata's query service. So this is just a nice front end, and where we can just put this query. And I've got this divided because if you make a custom query, let's say we wanted to customize this, the editor key for anyone watching is Ariadne. Just please read the notes if you are going to write a custom query. So that only this middle section is editable. That's why it's divided up there. So let's enter that in. A lot of this is just so we get the good labels and the right data that OpenDataDEx needs. The important part is here. So we want all items with a public domain date, and we want that public domain date to have already passed. So run that. And so the limitation with this is we are only going to get entities that have a public domain date, but there are a lot of works that don't have that date for various reasons. The one big reason being the work was never copyrighted because it was made before copyright law. Such as one work I know is not in this data set is Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, and it is not in here. And so if we this is our current data set. If we instead do this, we're going to, let's see, we still need that. If we do, has a copyright status of, let's see, we're going to go, let's look up Starry Night's wiki. And so we can go here to Tools, Wikidata Item, and let's take a look again, if we look up public domain date, it doesn't exist, but it has copyright status public domain. So let's see, that is Q. So if we copy that, we can put it here. And now we don't need this filter. So this would be the preferred way of getting all public domain works that have copyright status public domain, right? So let's make sure copyright status public domain. But if we were to run this, it eventually times out. The data set is just too huge. I'm not sure which items maybe just have a ton of properties connected to them, or what exactly it is, but it times out. You can always add more relationships to help narrow down the subset, but that is why I chose this query, where we base it on the property or the public domain date to get our DEX. Even though it's only 175 objects, I really like the wide variety of items. So we can compare songs to statues to books to films. So I really like that this data set, yeah, we've got a lot of different types of things. It's fun to explore and learn. Yep, timeout there. So you can always play around. If anyone has suggestions for me of like maybe a better way to get the public, a full set of public domain works, that'd be awesome. I know, other things I could have tried are maybe base it on the publication date, just basically using US copyright law, like what the actual law is, to try to infer the public domain status. So you can always play around with that, but I think this is a pretty good data set, at least for just exploring, and also for people to see where data is really robust versus where it really needs a lot of work. So H.P. Lovecraft fans, y'all have been on it with Wikidata. But yeah, it's, some of these other things we can hopefully get some communities to curate some of these items in Wikidata, because it really does make the data much more useful and likely to get used. Let's see. I think that is it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll put links to everything, but this is all a project of the knowledgecommons.org, where the initiative is to have knowledge be a public resource. And what are all the things that go into that? What are the obstacles? What do we need to have happen? And any input is absolutely welcome. All right, thank you everyone. Next week we'll explore a different topic in open data.